Hello everyone, and welcome to the FEE3 2023 presentation of Ballad of the Bard by Subway Boss Emmett. My name is Lowres, and for this showcase I will be trying to LTC Chapter 5 of this game. For those who aren't aware, that means I'm going to try and beat this map here in the fewest amount of turns I think is possible. But first, let's show a little bit of the story. Echidna, wait up! Elfin, what is it? Any change in the plan? Oh, no. I was just a bit worried about you. Worried about me? What is there to worry about? I'm in peak condition as always. Well, for starters, you've been rushing past everyone today. Not to mention, from what I could hear, I don't think you slept at all last night. I get the feeling something has been eating at you. I almost forgot how perceptive you can be. Here I believed only the mice heard me pacing around last night. Are you still concerned about working with Klein? Or are you worried about the fight ahead? Nah, none of that stuff. If I'm being honest, I'm just a bit nervous. Nervous about what comes next. I've thought about pushing and fighting for so long now. Not sure what I'll do after we manage to clean up the Isles. I didn't expect to hear something quite so vulnerable from you, Echidna. Now what is that supposed to mean? Well, I always thought that you would just continue your travels, like St. Elamine. Find the next group of downtrodden heroes and tear through their lives like a whirlwind. But whatever you choose to do with your life after this, I'll always be grateful you passed through mine. Hey, Elfin, don't go acting like it's all over just yet. We still got a fight to win. Ha! You're right as always, Echidna. Morgan, what are you doing here? Without the resistant head's head on a platter. We failed, sir, completely. And we lost control of the mines. What? Well, I was informed that what appeared to be their tactician was escaping towards Lord Zink's territory. So I told my men to ignore what must have been a decoy troop, and focus down that bard like you requested. Go on. Well, that decoy overwhelmed the guards of the prison, and they stormed my post, with nearly no men left on hand. Nothing but imbeciles. Well, if they were headed towards Lord Zink's position, they can't have lasted long. We had General Klein providing him support. Surely the general was competent enough to defeat these rabble. Urgent news, sir. It appears General Klein has defected to the rebels. That little brat. Did the Etrurian court think they could send a boy to do a man's job? Tell me, how has Lord Zink himself fared against the rebels? Apparently he was defeated even before General Klein defected. Zink has fallen? Ah! I'm here to report the latest news from Fibernia. Finally, a chance for some good news. I assume Bishop Oro has no troubles with his guest on the mainland? It seems the prince checking on Bishop Oro found him out, escaped, and has joined the rebellion as well. Nothing but failures. I demand you fetch me Oro at once. Lord Arkard, sir, I am here because Bishop Oro could not make it himself. Everyone here should know we do not tolerate weakness. Make Roberts drag the old fop here if he needs to. We're unsure of Lord Roberts' position ever since the priest escaped. He couldn't help anyway, though, because Bishop Oro was killed. I rushed here when the rebels seized northern Fibernia Castle. No. No. How can this be? They're likely on their way here now. I still have so much I need to do. Morgan! I'm right here, Lord Arkard. Consider this a sign of my trust in you. You will manage Juteau for me, while I attend to more important matters with our friend Ein. But sir, there are nearly no men left in the castle. What if they get in? Bah, the gates here are impenetrable. Even someone as incompetent as you has nothing to fear. But keep this in mind if you do happen to screw up. Again. You have already fled one post. I want you to fight until your last breath for our capital here. I understand, sir. Good. Now I just need to get that blasted axe like Byrne asked of me. So the capital is finally in sight. If we seize control, are you sure we can drive out Etruria from around here? Certainly. No soldier we fought has ever shown any loyalty once it's clear that their leader's been dealt with. Now the only question is, what's the best way to get inside the Capitol building? The front gates must be heavily guarded. I'm trained in siege tactics, of course, but our volunteer corps may lack the required discipline. Aren't you folks getting a bit ahead of yourselves here? There's a back door for you all, and I already know how to get it open. Just for you, free of charge. What's in it for you, then? Let us in scot-free, no strings attached? Oh, nothing really. I just know that when nobles kill each other, the common man wins. This is an excellent chance to nick some loot while you're all distracted. Excuse me. Well, just look at the two of you. You were clearly born, fed, and raised by nobility, no denying it. I just refuse to kiss up to the rich, and I enjoy taking from them. How dare you think I fight our card for my own gain? That this is a petty squabble between nobility? Cram it. Think you're better than the rest of us? Well, whatever you two say, I'll be getting out of your hair for now. Hopefully I'll be seeing you all later. Forgive me. My presence here must be hurting the image of this group. I don't want another word out of you either, Klein. You've been a great help to us, and I won't let anyone talk down to a member of the Resistance. Thank you, Echidna. It's nothing. If I see that little thief again, I'll be giving her a piece of my mind. Sorry to interrupt, but should we really take her advice on how to get inside the Capitol? Despite her obvious distaste towards us, nothing she said seemed intended to deceive. I don't imagine that she cares who wins between ourselves and our card, so I doubt she would sell us out. In that case, let's follow that path the girl took. Alright, and with that introduction out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the map ourselves. Chapter 5 here is pretty clearly based on Chapter 12 of The Binding Blade, and at first blush, it looks like a pretty simple clear. We need to get rid of this guy, and being a Seas map, we need to get rid of the boss, obviously. Morgan, the general, he's got a silver axe and a spear, but, you know, pretty straightforward path. We start down here. The bards dance their ways up here. We get some door keys or whatever, and we kill the boss. Maybe if we have time, we can open this door too and get some treasure from these, and should be a fairly simple clear, but there is kind of one wrench in that plan, and that's the fact that none of the units in our army have door keys, and none of the enemies have door keys either, so this path right here is actually totally unviable for a low turn count strategy. Instead, we actually need to take on this map through the southern path. We need to get rid of these two 60 HP breakable walls, and then snake back around and into the throne room. This makes things a whole lot more complicated because the walls are so beefy that we can't two-shot them. We need at least 3 units to attack in order to break these walls. So, in order to complete this map in 5 turns, which is the goal, we need to get to here by turn 3. Kath and some enemy thieves are going to appear here, but they show up so late that unless Kath gets recruited and danced, none of them are going to be able to open these doors for us. So we need 3 wall breakers for this wall. We need both of our bards, obviously, and we need a boss killer, and we need someone to recruit Kath. All in this section, all by turn 3. So on paper, we need 7 units here, maybe fewer if we can combine some rolls, but In practice, we're actually going to need 8 up here for the extra mobility. You'll see that in the clear. But 8 units, very resource intensive, but it's not all 12. We still have 4 units who we're not going to be able to bring along with us, and they're going to be kind of stuck here at the beginning, which creates a pretty meaningful side objective, because while our main group that approaches this wall is going to reach this very barren area with no enemies, so they'll be like totally safe by turn 3. All the enemies in this map are front loaded, so anyone who we leave back here is going to just be fighting for their lives the entire clear. Thankfully, they only need to live for 5 turns, but let's take a look at the units that we're going to need to split into these 2 groups. Not surprisingly, the characters in this hack compose entirely of FE6 units, but their abilities change a little bit with the context, so let's take a quick look at them. Starting with our main lord, Elfin, Bard. He dances, you know him, you love him. He's a little bit bulkier than his buddy Lowres, and he also has a special personal light tome that he can use to counterattack enemies that go after him. So in cases where I need to put one dancer in danger, I would prefer it to be this guy. And spoilers, that is gonna be happening more than once in this clear. Next up we have Lowres, the second half of our Bard train. When she combines with Elfin, they can dance each other and gain infinite movement. She's less bulky and she can't retaliate, but still very valuable nonetheless. Echidna is the Jagan of this hack, and she has much better sword and axe ranks than she does in the vanilla game, and she joins with a silver sword. This makes her a no-brainer in terms of a really good combat unit. But unfortunately for her, she's also the only person that can recruit Kath. This means that she's going to be pushed alongside our main group towards the objective, and she's not going to have a whole lot of time to kill enemies back at the starting area. But while she is, able to do that, she'll be incredibly good at it. Next up, we have our 3 wall breakers, Shin, Klein, and Dorothy. These 3 I picked because of their high threat range. Shin has the highest threat range of any of my units in my army. Klein is a little bit less mobile, but his access to the silver bow makes him very efficient at breaking down walls. And Dorothy, while she only has 5 movement, she also has a personal longbow, the Ichiball, which also makes her really good at breaking down walls. I picked these 3 as my wall breakers, obviously because they're also all bow users. This gives them, not only can they attack the wall from farther away, but they also aren't going to crowd around the choke points quite as much as melee units would, which allows my dancers to slip in through the choke points and do their dancing thing more easily. Next up, we have our mounted units, Noah and Thea. Neither of them are super good at combat, but Thea is actually a bit better. She has access to the heavy spear to kill some knights, and Noah has 7 movement. And notably, Noah does not die to archers, so he's actually going to be another unit we're taking along the main path. Thea, I would have loved to take her because she's a little bit better at combat than Noah, but she's going to be at the starting area, kind of clearing out enemies and trying not to die. So, moving on to our regular foot units, we have Fear, the Myrmidon. Any One who's played this hack probably remembers her Wo Dao, which was changed to give effectiveness against cavalry and armored units, making it kind of like a Manikati, and it makes her an obviously super strong candidate for boss killing. Morgan's a general, and much like Rutger in the base game, she's just really good at doubling and getting crits. She does have 5 movement, but one subtler thing that makes her really good in this hack is that she only has 5 con, which makes her the lightest unit in the game, at least so far, and the only unit that can be picked up by our dancers. So even though she only has 5 movement, we can carry her along the main path without too much trouble, and she's gonna help us secure the last leg of our clear. Moving on to our final foot units, we have Saul, Lot, and Wade. They're all going to do some important stuff in the first couple turns, especially Saul, who's going to get some high-value heals, but they have 5 movement, can't be picked up by our dancers, no real mobility tools, so they're going to be stuck at the starting area just fighting for their lives. And with that said, those are our 2 groups, so let's get into the clear. Alright, getting started with the clear, we're just gonna get rid of these 2 armor knights that are taunting us at the start with some effective weapons that I just happen to have lying around. And right away, we're just gonna get into breaking down that first wall. No time to waste. We're gonna start with Klein. He's gonna start breaking his precious silver bow on some stupid wall. In fact, he's going to do it twice, because one very cool thing about having 2 bards is that you can have one unit act 3 times. So we're going to put Elfin right there in that corner so that he can dance Klein. And unfortunately, Elfin is in range of 2 units, 2 archers that can combine for a kill. So he'll need to dodge one of them on enemy phase. But everyone else just moves forward. Fear drinks a pure water to get a resistance boost. That'll be helpful later. And we're going to initiate enemy phase 1. The boss here is talking to his subordinate about a couple reinforcements that aren't going to matter. And Elfin needs to dodge this 60-something from a longbow archer. He gets a luck point here, which is nice, and do not worry, dear viewer, I did give him a speed wing to maximize the reliability of this clear. Never let it be said I don't care about reliability. Kath and her buddies are going to show up here, and they're going to try and escape through the top left corner, so even more casual players have a good incentive to rush through the southern path here. And we're going to get our wall breakers in position for the second wall. Shin is going to rescue Dorothy, and now both of those are in position. But Klein is actually going to make an interesting move. Not move full movement and just take out that archer. Echidna also not going to be in saddlebags. She's just going to get rid of these mages, which are a huge pain. A mage plus a mercenary, 2 shots just about everyone I care about. So we definitely want to get rid of those mages who can pile in on our dancers or Noah or something. And one cool little feature that I like about this hack is that Larum and Elfin tend to have a lot of mid-map conversations that can't be activated turn 1, but kind of show up later on, which is cute. And because they need to bard train, they're always going to be together, so you always have the opportunity to do that. But here I'm going to use the bard train for kind of a unusual purpose, and that is I need to dance for Klein, obviously, get him closer to the second wall, but I didn't want Larum in danger, so I had her take Fear and Bard train herself further north so that that archer and shaman can't target her. Saul here is going to be blocked off from one of the mercenaries, and the archer and shaman are actually going to target Noah because he cannot counterattack, while Elfin can. So thankfully no one here has a chance of death. But Saul and Wade are both looking pretty rough, and Lot also got roughed up a couple turns ago. And you can tell this game actually has much higher accuracy values than FE6, because Wade has like 70 hit against these mercenaries instead of like 30, which is really helpful because he needs to land like 3 attacks on these guys. Another unit with high accuracy is Echidna, who's just going to obliterate the shaman so it doesn't bother chasing us. And now Noah is going to finally rescue her to get her within recruitment range of Kath next turn. And all of our bow users are also in range to break down this wall. We bust out the Ichi Ball for the final hit. And we're going to drop Echidna just barely within range of Kath next turn. We're going to Bard Train to fill in the gaps in this choke point, but unfortunately I don't have another super good dancing target, so we're just going to leave it at that. Wade is going to get doubled once again, but he's only going to get targeted by one enemy because Thea is blocking off the path of those knights to target him. And things are pretty much in position. The enemy thieves, while I wish they were more useful, they are at least able to crack open that one door, which really helps us out. And now we're going to go ahead and recruit Kath. Kath is the first thief our army's going to get, and unlike vanilla FE6, she's actually kind of useful. She's got high speed, high resistance, and a slightly higher sword rank than you probably expect. She could kill one of her buddies there with the Lance Reaver she joins with, but I choose to instead just weaken him with the Iron Sword. It's a lot more reliable. Speaking of reliable, we need to land this last 78, and now our path to escape is open, and we can get these 4 back to safety. They are done for the map. They're all going to live happily ever after, at least for this battle. And now, Kath is going to weaken this guy so that Noah can finish him off. And thieves are notoriously hard to kill because of their high speed stats, but thankfully these two have chosen to weigh themselves down with steel swords, so both Shin and Kath can double them, which make my job a whole lot easier. We also need to get rid of that knight there, but what's a silver bow if you're not going to use it, am I right? We're going to go ahead and dance for Kath, get her in range of the final door to the throne room, and because of her high resistance, the shamans in the throne room normally don't like to attack her. They would prefer to attack Fear, who we're also going to drop right there. But thanks to the Pure Water that I gave Fear turn 1, she actually has higher resistance, which is nice because I want her to be at full health for the upcoming boss fight. Turn 5, we are going to crack open that door, and Fear is just barely within range of the boss after a dance, and because I got a strength level with her, she can actually just one-shot or one-round this boss without a crit or anything. And that was a joke, Fear. How did you make that look so easy? Pure skill. One last little bard train, and that's going to be Chapter 5, completed in 5 turns. Thank you for watching. This was a joy to plan out, and I hope you enjoyed.